Working hard or hardly working? You make a better door than a window. No, you're other right. Dad jokes and expressions have done more for the eye roll than vintage Undertaker matches. But do they deserve that treatment? I mean, it's yes. The answer is yes. But there are millions of people that think they're above the dad joke. And then they go out there and repeat something that's been said 1,000 times before. Memes are bringing the dad joke to a new generation and just putting it in a different wrapper. In the world of baseball, you don't need to look any further than the response to 2021 Shohei Ohtani to see what I mean. A few people have even tried to answer the question of whether Shohei could hit against himself.
How has nobody thought of this idea yet? What if Ohtani pitched to himself? Who would win?
打者大谷、そんな夢の対決を可能にするのがこちら。
Never change, Japan. But those people aren't the Dugs. We've peer-reviewed the work that's been put together out there and found it lacking. So because we're the most trusted source on YouTube for answering hypothetical baseball questions, or just because we call dibs, you're all gonna get the answer to the question that everyone's asking. Roll intro. I'm Johnny Paprika, and if this is your first time with us, welcome! The focus of this channel is simulating baseball tournaments that we then highlight in a blowhard version of SportsCenter. In the end, it's all an excuse to tell a lot of jokes and a lot of baseball stories. We just wrapped up the Season 1 tournament, which featured teams like Deliberately Offensive, who had 25 offensive legends on their team with no pitching, and the Big Bones, a collection of the largest players to ever play the game. You can find those videos in the Season 1 playlist or by listening to the hand that has just appeared on your screen and clicking on the thing. We're in between seasons now, posting on an irregular schedule while we work on our next tournament. So if you like what we do and want to stay informed of when we put out new stuff, please consider subscribing. So on to Shohei versus Shohei. How are we going to do this? We promised a well thought out solution, so I called Hamish, listened to his idea, scrapped it entirely, and came up with something that would actually work. We're going to play a best-of-3 series. Testing the offensive side of things, we've got the Shohei Ohtanis. We played God and created 9 exact clones of Shohei Ohtani. But that's going to get real tiresome hearing the same name over and over again, so to give it a little bit more personality, we've changed up their names a bit to see which clones perform better in this exercise. On the roster, we have dog enthusiast Shohei Ohtani, erotic cake baker Ho Cake You Want Me, the wild man Heyo Ohtani, a name that some would accuse us for cashing in on the current Hall of Fame buzz, Shohei Big Papi. You're completely right, we're totally pandering. Gold hoarder O'Shea Tahani, the cautionary tale about making too many clones, Potato Bobby. Oh wait, it's pronounced Potato Bobby. I get it. A guy that struggles with his self-confidence despite literally being a carbon copy of everyone else in the dugout. Okay, Ohtani. Doug's superfan Shohamish O'Johnny. And Steve Smith, who values his individualism and refuses to accept the fact that he's a clone of Shohei. On the pitching side, we have the Shohei Throw-Tanis. On the mound, you have, you guessed it, Shohei original flavor, and to accurately test his pitching performance, we've given him the 2020 opening day starting lineup for the Angels in defensive support. We need to get creative with what constitutes a win or loss in this best of 3. We can't just have the two teams face off and count wins and losses. How well the Angels can hit my Ohtani clones is totally beside the point, so we need a different win-loss criteria. You might want to get a spare pair of panties, ladies. I'm about to do some math. Last season, Shohei managed an absolute ridiculous ERA of 3.18. I considered using that as the win-loss mark, meaning if the Ohtanis were able to hang an ERA above 3.18 on Shohei Original Flavor, I'd chalk it up as a win for the offensive side. That's probably a bit too easy for the hitters, though. Having to face a team of Ohtani clones is a bit more difficult task than what real-life Ohtani was up against during the 2021 season. After all, he got to face Elvis Andrus on occasion. So we once again turn to sexy statistics to, at the very least, complicate things to such a degree that no one can confidently accuse us of screwing up. We'll be using offensive winning percentage, which Baseball Reference defines as the percentage a game a team with 9 identical clones of a player would win, assuming average pitching and fielding. I like where your head's at, Baseball Reference. For players with at least 300 plate appearances, the median offensive winning percentage was 52.7%. Shohei's was 72.5%, or in other words, he's 38% better than your average offensive hitter. So we're going to give Shohei's real-life ERA of 3.18 an additional 38% of breathing room, upping the mark to 4.39, and now we have our criteria. Once Shohei Original Flavor comes out of the game, we'll see where his ERA is at. If it's over 4.39, it's a win for the hitters. Only other thing worth noting is that if there are runners on base that Original Flavor is responsible for at the time he comes out, we'll bring in a reliever to see what happens to those runners, and they'll still affect Original Flavor's ERA. That relief pitcher? Well, it's another Shohei clone, of course. Let's call him Shohei Cool Ranch. So, the rules are in place. Let's jump straight into the games. You'll be able to track Shohei's ongoing ERA in the graphic up at the top as he tries to keep that puppy under 4.39 for the win. We're here in the first round of at-bat. It's possible that covertly stealing the man's DNA and making him face his unnatural offspring has rubbed Shohei the wrong way, as he just starts right out of the gate unloading on the opposition. Hoe Cake You Want Me needs to take his buttocks out of the cake molds and insert it back onto the bench. Potato Bobby takes a long enough break between his entreaties to show mercy and kill him now to go down swinging for out number 2. Steve Smith claims he doesn't even know what he's doing here, but Ohtani informs him that he's walking back to the dugout. No one puts the ball in play as the first 3 hitters of the game go down on strikes. Moving on to the second. If you're struggling with your confidence already, seeing the side strike out in the previous inning isn't going to, oh my goodness! Okay, Ohtani walks up to the plate like Eeyore, but pops a Xanax and is now bouncing around the bases like Tigger. Shohei gets it under control, however, and after surrendering a single, strikes out the next 2 clones to give us our first look at Doug's superfan Shohei Ohtani. He's down swinging as well. Must be a bigger Hamish fan. So after 2, our hero's ERA sits at 4.5 and he's maxed out his strikeouts at 6. The strikeouts are no surprise. His split finger was one of the most dominant pitches in all of baseball last year. The league only managed 11 hits off the pitch, batting .087 off of it. And let's just say nothing of his fastball. Dude could throw 99 at the age of 18 in high school and holds the record in Japan's NPB for hitting 102.5 with his fastball. I played a little baseball in high school, and if I read Shohei's scouting report, I would have approached that at-bat by quitting baseball. Back to the game action, and here he is wrapping up the third with a strikeout on Hoe Cake and Potato Bobby. Leadoff man in the inning lined out, so the ball has been put in play, but Shohei is back to his old tricks with a series of 3 strikeouts against Steve Smith, OK Ohtani, and O'Shea Tahani. Through 4, he has struck out 11, and that gets his ERA on the game down to 2.25, so he has a little bit of breathing room to work with. I wasn't expecting to get such an overly definitive answer to this question, but the pitching Ohtani is just dominating the Xeroxes of himself. Finally, Shohei Big Papi gets the offensive side something to stand on, which brings up dog lover Shohei Ohtani. Go fetch! 2-run home run for Ohtani, and just like that, after being embarrassed all game by Shohei Original Flavor, they've got Shohei in a ton of trouble. He's north of 90 pitches, much like this girl I knew in high school that shall remain nameless. The 11 strikeouts look sexy as hell, but in the end, were not worth the effort. The best revenge is living a good life, Carly. The best revenge is a good life. He does manage to record 3 outs to get out of the 5th, but after throwing 103 pitches, he would not be able to answer the bell in the 6th, which leaves his game ERA at, 5.40, close but no cigar. On the strength of Shohei Ohtani's 2-run home run and the patience the clones showed throughout, the Ohtanis take down Game 1. That might prove to be the Achilles heel of the Throtanis. Before September, Shohei only crossed the 100-pitch line once in 2021. If the Ohtanis can continue to show some patience and poke in the occasional run, they might have their DNA donor's number. We'll be heading to the second game momentarily, but as we reset, here's a little Shohei trivia for you. Did you know that Shohei was the very first ghost runner across the majors to come in on Manfred's idiotic runner starts on second and extras rule? If you need any further proof that the rule's dumb, Shohei looked surprised as anyone that he was expected to go out there. And he was so distracted marinating on how Major League Baseball is not rec league softball that he was eventually thrown out in a rundown. Alright, looks like we're ready to get started on Game 2. Shohei has a clean and I dare say dominant initial 2 innings. It was 6 up, 6 down, and perhaps more importantly, he's through with a pitch count of 23. A much more efficient performance than his first game. But now he starts to get in some trouble. In the 3rd, he walks the leadoff man on 4 pitches, and then with 2 outs, a double by Ho Cake You Want Me puts runners on 2nd and 3rd, giving Shohei Ohtani a chance with 2 outs. But he is plumb out of potatoes and Shohei keeps his ERA at 0 through 3. More trouble in the 4th. For the 2nd straight inning, Shohei walks the leadoff hitter and Ohtani on an 0-2 pitch gets another crucial home run. If this is what an inferiority complex can do for your ability to hit the long ball, I'm going to actually have to start researching whether 4 inches is actually above average. I'm going to guess the real Shohei doesn't have any inferiority issues. But that's not to say he doesn't have humility. His high school coach, fully aware that this kid was an absolute stud, still used to make him clean the toilets in order to keep him humble. Man, here in the States, the only thing we put our up-and-coming athletes through is sexual abuse, so maybe toilets is the way to go. That last home run put his ERA up over the critical line at 5.40. He gets an additional out to get the ERA below 5, but he's not out of the woods yet. This is Shohei Ohtani, another key player in Game 1, sending a 2-out double to the opposite field. Up next, it's Potato Bobby, and stupid is stupid duh. Aw, crap. Justin Upton saves a run by making an excellent play to track that one down and left, and the Throtanis have a fighting chance. That out brings our ERA mark down to 4.5, so we're teetering right on the edge. Ohtani's pitch count is getting up there as well, so it's possible that the Throtanis win this if he gets a clean 5th inning. That's not a great start though. For the 3rd time in the game, Shohei walks the leadoff man. He tells Ho Cake to take D's Donuts to go as he sets him down on strikes, and that officially brings his ERA down below the loss line. Shohei Ohtani's providing additional evidence that he's a leprechaun by playing small ball here. Not sure if he was looking for the hit there, but he does get the runner over to 2nd. ERA sits at 3.86 now, and with his pitch count nearing the 100 mark, he may only need this last out without allowing a run. But it's Shohei Big Papi. He's literally a carbon copy of everyone else in the lineup, but come on. With that name, you know the Papi's got clutch. And there it is, he sends a bullet out to center field, but shockingly, Shohei Ohtani doesn't try and come around and score. He's respecting Mike Trout's arm, but I don't know if I agree with the decision. You see, on top of everything else, dude's got wheels. He stole 26 bases in 2021, and according to Baseball Savant, his speed from home to first is the 5th fastest in the league. This visual may help that sink in. At the point that he reaches first, here's where Albert Pujols is. His sprint speed of 28.8 feet per second is good for 61st in the league. He's above Andrew McCutchen, Lorenzo Cain, and Javier Baez. Why, oh why, are the Angels such a horrible team? Back to the action, and since Shohei didn't push it, we have runners at the corners, and just like I learned in my psychology grad school, all that research was for nothing. This is Steve Smith going yard and scoring 3, and as he's rounding second, that look on his face says, okay, Okay, maybe I am Shohei Ohtani. That's gonna put the game and the series out of reach for the Throw-Tanis. Ohtani does manage to record another 4 outs, but even with no one scoring, Ohtani Original Flavor ends his day at 6 innings pitched, giving up 5 for an ERA of 7.5. So the question is answered, but just barely. Shohei Ohtani cannot effectively take his offensive half down, but he came damn close. The Shohei clones were too patient at the plate, forcing the Throw-Tanis to a pitch count near 100 after 5 innings. That could have worked to either team's advantage, but the hitting Ohtanis have the power to take a beleaguered pitcher deep, leaving them no time to bring their ERA back down. So the Ohtanis won the war, but the Throw-Tanis certainly won some battles. In Game 1 especially, Shohei demonstrated that when he's fresh, ain't no one touching him. He did more than enough to prove he can dominate his hitting half in small doses. And that is what makes Shohei so special and absolutely so deserving of being the first Asian player to grace the cover of a video game in any of the big 4 American sports. Joe Madden got it. Many wonder how good Shohei could be if he tried specializing in one side of the ball or the other, but Joe had this to say. He made it clear he was coming here because he wants to pitch and hit. This is what he loves. He loves baseball and he loves the challenge. I'll submit to you that by doing both, you're seeing the best version of Shohei Ohtani, not by limiting him. Thank goodness the Angels gave him that opportunity, or we would have never seen the spectacle that was Ohtani's 2021 season. Not everybody was willing to give him the opportunity. Ohtani was looking to come here back in 2013, and he very specifically wanted to sign with the Dodgers, but they wouldn't commit to letting him play as a two-way player. Ned Colletti was the GM at the time, and let's take a quick look at what he's up to today. Well, I'm sure this is a complete coincidence, but I shit you not, he's now a scout for the hockey team, the San Jose Sharks. So that does it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, toss us a like and hit that subscribe button as during the off season we'll be posting on a bit of an irregular schedule, so that'll help you stay informed on when there's some piping hot fresh Doug's content. And yeah, it really helps us out. So for Hamish, I've been Johnny Paprika, hoping all your balls are fair and all your wood is good. Good night, everybody.